Hi, Agon. I'm Talcmaid Willow, and this is ANN, your source for Darkfall news. Tonight, we're starting with a follow-up to our last story about washed-up siege on Vox Machina. ANN correspondent Whisper Forever has been following this story and brings us this report. Following Washed Up's first attempt at taking Uktu, a plan was set in motion to try once more. This time around, Washed Up decided to reach out to the Iron Outlaws Alliance. Not wanting a formal alliance, Washed Up coordinated a double siege on the hamlets of Uktu and Sunstone Island. The goal of this plan was to allow Washed Up to take on Vox Machina solo, while Vox's alliance was busy defending the other hamlet. Memento Mori was chosen as the clan to drop the siege on Sunstone, owned by Man and Missile Militia, late in the evening of June 29th. The plan was sound, but failed to take into consideration several key pieces of intel. Absolution, who owned Talpec at the time, had a siege pact with Man and Missile Militia. This, coupled with the failed siege drop by Memento Mori that delayed the Sunstone siege by 2 hours, set the stage for what would become one of the largest sieges seen since the launch of Rise of Agon. The siege timers counted down as darkness fell on June 30th, and the defenders were making last-minute logistical preparations for the coming sieges. Because the Uktu siege had been dropped on time, but hours before the Sunstone siege, the defending alliance decided that they had ample time to appear at both sieges. Vox Machina, Jokers, and a number of gentlemen who had arrived to lend aid set off to Niflheim. Washed Up got into a limited pre-siege engagement with this force, and once they confirmed that the botched double siege had not yielded the clan versus clan setup they had wanted, they forfeited the siege. Meanwhile, back at Yassam, a much larger fight was brewing. Dune Rats had been hired by Outlaws and Ironwrath. The Iron Outlaws Alliance also included Friendly Agon Guild, Grief Goons, Ballbustas, and Exiles. In addition to these forces, Washed Up joined their ranks to fight against Man and Missile Militia at Sunstone. Seeing the numbers swell, Jokers decided to call on everyone they could. Aside from the gentlemen, they called on House Thelma, Nidhogger, Blackguard, Burns When I PvE, and the Crimson Brotherhood. In total, the defenders managed to summon a larger force than the attackers, and shortly before the siege timers ran down, the fighting began. While initial skirmishes saw some fairly even trades, as soon as the siege forces met head-to-head, it was clear that the defenders were struggling. As the attacking side guarded their siege stones, the defenders attempted to push in and secure them, but after each push, the attackers would counter-push hard, forcing back the defenders and inflicting multiple casualties. Each time, the defenders would regroup and try once more, but to little avail. At one point, the attackers pushed the defending force all the way back into Talpec, where they secured the walls and used the infamous flame cannon to ward off the attackers. As the siege drew to a close after almost 4 hours of fighting, the defenders had still made very little progress. As the hamlet became vulnerable, the attackers pushed in quickly, and it looked as if they would overrun the defenders. Seeing their last stand imminent, the defenders turned hard and fractured the attacking force, splitting them up within the valleys surrounding Sunstone, and began to press back towards the siege stone. Intense fighting ensued, with ground gains measured in mere feet, but the defenders were securing kills and making steady progress. The fight was one of attrition, though, and eventually the push broke. The defenders called a full retreat, and Memento Mori took Sunstone. In the aftermath, both sides deconflicted from Yassam. The defeat was staggering for Man and Missile Militia, and in the coming days, their alliance collapsed. The siege seemed to cause waves within the attacking force as well. Blackwater left the alliance later that week, parting ways with Ironwrath and Outlaws. What was thought to have been the first shot in a new world war slowly echoed to silence. Throughout Darkfall's history, clans have risen and fallen for a variety of reasons. The clan of Brutal made a big impact on Darkfall's history the first time around, and seemed set for a repeat appearance, until they suddenly broke apart earlier this month. ANN correspondent Sick looked into the story and brought us this report. The clan Brutal recently imploded, their members splitting between 2 clans, and few even joining entirely different clans. Apparently, many of the core members were unhappy with the way leadership was being handled. According to Grimtide Dunefell, Brutal In Flames, formerly Grimjaw In Flames, regularly alienated loyal members of his clan, which eventually led to them leaving the clan to create their own. They named themselves Exiles, and soon joined the Blackwater Alliance. Not long after, Brutal In Flames disbanded Brutal and joined Instinct. Members who were kicked created their own clan, Happy Vibes. Happy Vibes is now part of the Resin Boys Alliance, and they, along with their allies, own all of Brutal's old holdings. This includes Bloodscar and Scoville. We met with Justiful to discuss the matter, and he gave this statement. The reason they fell apart was the bank theft. They all had different opinions on who did it. They lost a huge amount, apparently, and I was one they blamed. I have been selling game time tokens to fund Darkfall University, and I don't think many bank thieves would need to do that. They've been harassing DFU by saying I'm a bank thief. We also spoke with another source that wished to remain anonymous. Here's what he had to add. To start off, I had no leadership roles. I mainly focused on taking the newer guys out to PvP in our sub-clan, Little Dolphins. A lot of them were unhappy and said they were going to leave. We didn't want to play without them, so we all left and made the clan exiles. ANN reached out to Grimjaw for comment. His reply was straightforward. People are shit. Now we turn to the events surrounding the recent siege at Oathrain, which was covered by ANN's own Lord Ansem.
Thanks, Tolth. Oathrain is a valuable hamlet owned by Midnight Nation and located on the western coast of mainland Agon. The siege occurred Saturday, July 1st, in retaliation to a war deck made by Midnight Nation. Ironwrath attempted to drop a stone up the elevator, but realized you couldn't. By the time he was off the elevator, enemies were on him and collected a siege stone from his corpse. Sometime later, he returned to a different location by the lava and placed the siege stone. The original estimation of forces was Midnight Nation 10, Gentleman 20, and Vox Machina 6 versus Blackwater 10, Ironwrath 10 to 15, Outlaws 3 to 7, Griefgoons 3 to 6, and Memento Mori 6 to 10. It was also expected that the sieging force would hire Dune Rats, who field a minimum of 20 most contracts. An interview with Bladra of the Gentleman revealed the following. 2 hours prior to the siege, an insider revealed to Bladra that Dune Rats were in fact under contract to help the sieging force. As a result, Tender Touch brought 15 players from Shameful Display, Wolf Down, and Puppy Pound. As the defending force moved towards the hamlet from the holy city of Dankmore, they were ambushed by 7 to 9 Blackwater, who were quickly wiped, leaving only Little Witch alive. 10 minutes into the stone being live, the defending force decided to make the first push to the stone. After the initial skirmishes, where the majority of the mercenary forces were worn down, the defending force regrouped in Oathrain, where estimated losses were 25% for the defending force and 35% for the attacking force. Once they regained full strength, they eventually decided to make a full push over the lava river, wiping the less experienced rookie forces and destroying the siege stone.
Brutal's downfall wasn't the only drama unfolding last week. On July 3rd, Dune Rats Supreme General, Jonah Vale, posted a thread on the forums declaring that Dune Rats was for hire, at the modest price of 100,000 gold. His offer included a statement on the subject of bringing mercenaries to sieges. It's not that we don't expect consequences for our actions, it's that you guys aren't attempting to give any. You're all spineless fucks. Less than a day later, sick bastards headed up a response. They dropped a siege on Gonalaj, the Dune Rats' capital city, and invited the server to join in. The siege was more of a protest than an actual declaration of war, a statement to the Dune Rats that they too are vulnerable. Gonalaj fell with no contest, with Man and Missile Militia gaining ownership. Shortly after the fall of Gonalaj, a new post was made on the forums, this time by Pink Floyd. In it was a song he wrote covering the recent events, titled The Ballad of Jonah Vale. Part tribute, part roast. The ballad will certainly be immortalized in Darkfall's history.
The perpetrators demanded 10,000 gold to stop killing him in the face. A disgusting abuse of power. On the forums, the dude made a post, a wall of text explaining how he was gonna quit. And now
in the absence of Crushed Dark God's legendary political map, many have been left wondering what the political landscape in Darkfall looks like these days. Those without an extensive intel network have had to do significant scouting to piece together who's working with who. washed-up Supreme General Screwloose has been attempting to publish as much of the political landscape as he can publicly, creating a resource for those without the time and resources to go gather intel themselves. The results unveil quite a few alliances that have been quietly gathering strength, and it will be interesting to see where things go from here now that these alliances are largely public. In other news, the denizens of Agon have discovered a new cluster of islands. Scattered around the seas, they are christened Thymoscura, and the first one found lies far to the east of the mainland. This tiny island is rumored to contain untold amounts of resources, and will be particularly valuable to anyone looking to build their own home in Agon. And now, a look at one of Darkfall's more dangerous professions, with a special report from ANN's So Bad Strange.
So Bad Strange here with a report about how to scroach.
My buddy had an underwater ring on it.
So what you would like to do during scroaching is to be as naked and quiet as possible for the most part, and just try to get all the gear you can find. So you can see right here during my Sea Tower video, I actually ended up with 2,300 pounds of loot at the end. Just enough loot to survive for 2 or 3 weeks. And then during the Leandry siege of Renegar versus Wolf Down and Shameful Display and Puppy Pound, I actually wore gear, but it was pretty shitty. And I just sat to the side. There was a lot of back and forth pushes that I was able to just kind of sit back and hang out. Now, Wrath TNT actually said on the forums that roaching is someone who wears shit gear and is not worth looting, whereas somebody who is scroaching is showing up with a specific intention of scavenging while wearing roach gear. I would also like to point out right here during the video that I told Shameful Display that I would be friendly scroaching, which would be to help them or at least not kill their guys. And so during the Leandry Shameful Display siege, I actually managed to kill 3 Leandry and full loot several people. I ended up with about 1,800 pounds of gear during that siege. And at the very end, we actually became traitors to Shameful Display, and we got up on the cliff after they pushed into the hamlet, and were able to use battle spikes to blow up their clan strongbox and to suck up all of those loots that were in that as well. So if you guys are new to the game, make sure you get out there and scroach some good gear. Only get kills when you know you can kill them. Try to stay away from the battle.
And finally, here's our favorite picks of recent PvP videos. First up, we have Buffbot in Morning Harjik PvP, showcasing just how powerful mounted combat is in the current meta. Next up is Blood Meridian in Blood Meridian Nukes, a Darkfall Unholy Wars player proving his worth.
Ninetales here, coming behind you guys. Ball sniffer, trying to run.
And last, but certainly not least, Synced in Shit Player, Shittier Video, a new player showing off his professional CSGO aim. Once again, we'd like to remind you that ANN's very own Mad the Maddest sat down with another Rise of Aegon player, Lord Zanul. You can listen to the full podcast by clicking on the link in the description.
I gotcha. So basically, what you're trying to say is you're like Jason Bourne IRL, like you're an ultra badass.
People like to call me Batman.
Batman, Jesus. What do you do? What do you practice?
I've studied a lot, but the thing that I was teaching was ninjutsu.
Damn, you're a ninja? You're telling me you're a ninja? Damn.
Yes.
That's all for this episode. Don't forget to send in your stories to ann@bpgstudios.com or message our reporters on the Rise of Agon Discord. Remember, in Darkfall, everyone dies. What makes a legend is how you go, and who you take with you.